Welcome back to the Horsemanship. I promised a young lady in Australia I talk about our American Western saddles. She's thinking about switching over from the Aussie saddle to Western, and so I'm going to put it out there. Been a sad week here at Falcon Ridge. An old horse. She was 32. The one I did a video on her when she came in. She was one that some old lady was feeding dog food. And I just lost her this morning. And at least she died with dignity. Also, one of my favorite rescues that came through, Toby, we found out from his doctor that he died from complications of a colic. So it's not been a good week. So no, I'm not going to be my witty self. So I've got my saddles on here, except for one's a roping saddle that I have for volunteers to use. So there's Chris, you can man the camera if you want. That way we can go from point to point. So like I said, all these are my personal saddles I use all the time, so you're damn right, they're dusty. I'm not a starch cowboy. I'm sorry, a starch cowboy, they're too worried about being starched to me, get anything done. Okay, we'll start with this is a barrel saddle there. It's one I start colts in now. And the reason being, I got about a 4-inch cantle back here, this part, so I can put my brace on it. My stirrups, they're what they're called free-wheeling, so I can put my feet forward. The horse come unglued. Also, my pommel here is enough where I can hook my legs into if I have to. It's a lightweight saddle. Somebody one day saw it and said, well, that's not a barrel saddle because it's got a square skirting. Well, I wish people would shut up if they don't know what they're talking about, because you don't impress me that way. Barrel saddle does not necessarily have to have a round skirting, people. Some of them are made with a square skirting. What distinguishes this in barrel saddle? 1, saddle horn. 2, this pommel and the cantle. 3, it's lightweight. No, in other words, it's made for you to be stuck in that saddle. And all my trees, they're all what we call full quarter horse trees. That means they're a little bit wider. For Australians over there with your Brombies, pictures I've seen, they're mostly thoroughbred crosses, so you need what they call a semi-quarter horse tree, which is a little bit narrow. Now, I like my wider trees because I can always build up if I have to, but if I got a narrow saddle, there's no way I can fit it on a wide horse. Now here, we got an old roping saddle I don't use. I got it in the tack room for volunteers want to use the saddle. They use this saddle, please, or one of the others. Now, what distinguishes this roping saddle is here, this slick fork. It's called a slick fork. So the horn's a little bit more beefier. This one's wrapped. And a lot of times over here we'll wrap it some more with air tube. They're a heavier saddle. They're heavier built. Most of them weighs between 45 on up. This old wore out thing, I've had it, seen a lot of horses. I like riding it. It's a cutting saddle. And now, in a cutting saddle, I normally, like my colt starting saddle, my barrel saddle over there is 14-inch seat. That's what I like, because when I'm on a colt for the first time, I don't want a bunch of movement in there. But I do like this flatter seat, so and I'll get into that when I talk about this cutting saddle. Cutting saddle, I ride in a 16-inch seat. I heard an old timer one time said he thought it was a bunch of BS about these cutting saddles, but it tells me how much he knew about it. He's a good ranch hand, but when it comes to developing a good reining horse, whatever, that wasn't his thing. So anyway, this one's a 16-inch seat. Seat. I would like it a little bit flatter. But so on these saddles here, you ride more center of the saddle. You don't ride back there on the cantle. And you should never ride back to the cantle. You should always be center of that saddle. If you watch me ride, most of the time that's where I'm at. But I ride in the center of the saddle. So if I want to go do a slide and stop or a stop, I can move my hiney back to this cantle, put my feet forward, and that's their cue to stop. These cutting saddles, they got a small horn, because if you're cutting a cow in competition, I guarantee you're holding on that horn. So that's why your cutting saddles are a smaller horn. And like this one, you see all this is cut away so you can feel the horse underneath you. Now this one here is on what they call associated tree too. But this one's, all my saddles I prefer not to have a slick fork. I prefer having a little bit of the pommel. You have a little bit there I can cut my legs into. So I can use that saddle starting a colt or whatever. And this one's Suka saddle. I had it covered up, but it's still dusty because we had one Santa Ana's here. This is on real wide tree because the Suka's wide back. Now I got bucking rolls on this one. And that's for the same purpose. I can take them off of there, but I just don't. Just in case I do need them and I put it on another horse. And the same principle, I can get up there and it helps me stay in that saddle. That one there, I can dolly up to it real heavy because it's got a really super heavy horn. And good for me if I have to pony a horse or whatever. And I got my custom built saddle there that I need to actually go get worked on because the cantle, guy did a good job on making it, but the cantle's too tall. So if horse comes unglued, it's hitting me right here in the square of the back. So I got to find me a saddle maker and drop it down to about 4-inch one. So that's just a little bit of tidbit on different uses of saddles. And like me, like I said earlier, I want a saddle for my personal use. I want a little bit of pommel there. I don't want a slick fork. I want something I can hook my legs onto if I need to. And I do like a little bit of flatter seat so I can move my little hiney back and forth. Because even in that 14-inch saddle, there's enough room for my little butt. I can stay here and I can still move my butt back here to the cantle if I want to ask the horse for a stop. So this is short and sweet, and that's what I wanted this morning. As I always say, be true to the horse, they'll be true to you. First and foremost, be true to yourself, always. And to my kids and special people out there, Washita Lake, KDA, and everybody else, take care and God bless.